tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about different things that we're doing with 10th graders, and we want to explain a little bit of what we are focusing on in the areas. So our school counseling services, together with graduation requirement, course selection, balance, on-campus resources, and college and career services. So our role, the high school counselor roles, are so
hold on one second, Ariel. We're trying to get the translation together, just so that we have everybody in the right rooms. Just can you pause for 1 second? I can't see the globe on my toolbar.
En unos momentos estaremos con ustedes. Estamos teniendo algunas cuestiones técnicas para resolver lo de la aplicación, la herramienta de traducción. Gracias.
Miss Parker, do you have the translation globe on your screen?
No, right now I'm a co-host, but not the main host.
Okay, I'm looking and I don't have the globe either.
Mr. Rojas, do you have the globe on the bottom of your Zoom screen?
No, I don't. Opción, por favor. Okay, okay, so are we ready now?
Ready.
Good. All right. Thank you so much for your patience. We just want to make sure that every parent at Los Altos gets this information, and that's why we wanted to make sure that we had that translation icon working. But what I was saying, so our areas in school counseling services, graduation requirements, and everything, and course selection and balance, and campus resources. And also, we're going to be looking at the college and career services. Those are going to be the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. So what is our role? So on the right-hand side, from my view, you have a picture of the wonderful counseling team. They're all like handsome and very good-looking people and very friendly people waiting for your kids to come and talk to us. So but what we do really is we try to connect and engage your student. That is one of the number one roles that we have, is to try to make sure that they have the connections they need to be successful, and that they are engaged in their learning in and outside the classroom. We also do academic planning and success. We look at post-secondary planning, 21st century skill building, navigating resources, and overall wellness. That is one of the most important things, is to make sure that your kids are well, happy, and balanced. So how do you connect your school with your counselor? You can, the students can drop in during brunch and lunch. They can sign in for ACT appointments with Minga. They can request additional appointments via email, or counselors are available by email, phone, and by request. Parents also can email us and call us, or they can request to meet with us. On the right-hand side, you see the class of 2028 and who your student counselor is. So we go by Alpha Divide, and you can see the Alpha Divide. You can see all this information if you on the counseling website. So the parent programming, we have tonight, which is the 10th grade parent night. We have the MVLA speaker series. We have the principal's coffee. We have college and career center events, and student services website. So in the student services website, there's like an array of different information that parents can access. Like this presentation tonight will be available this week on our website, and you guys can review it again. If you have any questions, that's where you find a lot of our information. So what are we looking when we look at counseling services, and what does it look like for the 4 years? So in freshman year, we work on the transition to high school. We have the back to school pairing night. We have the 9th grade counseling appointments. We have a freshman social. We have curriculum in Naviance, SIS, and we work on CEL and 4-year plans. In the sophomore year, we work on social, emotional, and career exploration. We have pairing nights. We have a small group workshops, sophomore socials, curriculum in Naviance, and academic advising and career exploration. Then in the junior year, we have post-secondary exploration and goal setting. We have also another pairing night. We have class presentations. We have something really, really cool. It's called the junior interview. And that is a very great way for us to sit down with your student at that junior level and talk to them about like future plans and talk to them about how they're doing in that moment. And it's a great conversation that happens between the counselor and the student, because we get to know a little more when the students are already thinking about college and thinking about moving forward. We also have college counseling and a junior social, and also, with Naviance, academic advising, and post-secondary planning. In the senior year, we have we work on everything that has to do with post-secondary. We have a pairing night, we have class presentations, 12th grade counseling appointments, and college counseling. So that's where we really work with your students from the beginning of the year to make sure that they have all the tools they need to be able to be successful in the college process, and to make sure that they have a robust plan for after high school and what they're going to do. So what is the sophomore curriculum? School counseling events and presentations. We do that through the year. We have, in the spring semester, we have small 10th grade small groups workshops. So we bring together a group of 8 or less or 10 students, and we work with them in a small group. We also have one-on-one course advising appointments, which we are doing right now, not necessarily with 10th grade, but we are starting to do that this week. And then we have college and career events. So how does it look like? What is the sophomore year counseling overview? So in the academic part, we review the graduation requirements. We make sure that students understand the A-G requirements and to pursue academic interest. We also, in the social emotional part, we build strong academic habits. We pursue extracurricular opportunities and develop personal narratives. And in the college and career part of it, we explore colleges and investigate summer opportunities and update the resume. So what does the small group workshops look like? So this year, we are going to start them on April 13th through the 30th. And we do this in collaboration with the College and Career Center. Actually, Ms. Duran is here, and I thank you, Ms. Duran, for always helping out. So what does it look like? So we like to engage students. We are looking at 21st century skill building in engagement, navigating high school, and communication. That's pretty much the core of what we do in those workshops. So one of the tools that's really, really important for parents and students to use, and where you're going to find a lot of information, is through ARIS, the Student Information System. So parents should be able to log in and should be able to see many different documents and kind of like keep an eye on the student's progress. So you can see attendance, you can see course progress and grades, you can see graduation status and transcripts. So what you see right now is a Los Altos High School graduation status report. This is something that we start working with students as of after the first semester of ninth grade. We start looking at this. It's a document that clarifies what the subject areas your student needs to complete for graduation and how much they've done, what they need to do. So in the end, this document helps us visualize a little more of what requirements are needed for students. Right now, as 10th graders, because you're in the second year, you're going to see a lot on the right-hand side, a lot of credits needed. But as we move along, that starts going to the point where it almost becomes a zero until the end of high school. So it's a very useful document, and we use it every year. So this is what a high school transcript looks like. So we will be looking at this document too when we make when we do a course request, for anything. This is a very important document because it really shows the classes the student takes, what the value of the classes is, their grades, their grade point average. And so if you see on the top where that red line, that's where your GPAs are. And we do have 3 different GPAs in our school. And the reason why we do that is to help students kind of visualize a little bit in terms of schools. So the GPA we use for colleges is the academic GPA, 9 through 12. That's the one that you see all the way to the left. And then you have a GPA that's a 10 through 12 GPA that we will explain later on. And we do that one because a lot of the public universities in California, the UC and the CSUs, use the 10 and 11th grade GPA. So it's something that we explain to students and we help them understand how to read that transcript. So to graduate from Los Altos High School, a student needs 4 years of English, 3.5 years of social studies, 2 years of math, 2 years of science, 2 years of a combination of a world language, fine arts, and practical art. Let me clarify a little bit about these requirements. So there is no requirement of a language to graduate from high school, but you can use the language that you have to do because colleges require for a student to have a certain amount of years of a language, and they can use it towards this particular requirement. You can also use a fine art requirement, so you can combine any of those to fulfill those 2 years in any kind of combination. So a student can have 2 years of a language and be done with this requirement, or 2 years of practical arts and be done with this requirement. Then students need 2 years of PE. That's the first year in ninth grade, and then they can do anything during the 10th and 11th grade. We hope that they fulfill the requirement by the end of 11th grade. We do have a requirement of health that is 1 semester, 5 credits, and then the rest are 60 credits of electives. So pretty much anything else that students take will go into the elective pools. Like, let's say there's 2 years required for math and your student does 4 years, so the other 2 years will go to the elective, to total 220 credits. So for the A3G requirements are the requirements to apply to a 4-year college. In this case, you have the A3G requirements for the UC and the CSU, which is the University of California and the California State University. The requirements for high school at our district are very similar to the requirements for college, and they're done on purpose so students can easily fulfill those requirements. But they have some differences in the amount of requirements that they have. So I'll go over them really quickly right now. So a student needs 2 years of history. One of them has to be U.S. history. The other requirement is the B requirement, which is English. You need 4 years of English. And the math, which is the C requirement, you need 3 years of math. You have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, and 4 years is recommended. when you see something that says recommended, we want to make sure that your student does that, because then we want to make sure that they go with the recommendation. For science, you need 2 years. You need to have biology, chemistry, or physics, 2 of the 3, and 3 years is recommended. A lot of our students at Los Altos end up doing the 4th year, so that's good. For languages, they only require 2 years of the same language. It has to be the same language, and it could be the only difference with that is the student can start maybe at the 2nd year, because languages are looked at by level, not by year. So if your student's already at the level 2, then that's considered the 2nd year, and then they can continue. Many students do the 4th year of a language, and if they take the AP test, they could vote for the seal of biliteracy. Then for the F requirement, which is the visual and performing arts, students have to take 1 year of that. And then the G requirement is college prep elective, which could be a combination of classes that are just in the G requirement, or classes that could be taken from like a history of an extra science or anything else that you have an extra of.
Thanks, Ariel.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Rojas. I'm Jenny Dumas. I'm another one of the school counselors here at Los Altos High School, and I'm going to be taking you through our course selection overview, showing you some of the tools we use with students to make sure that they stay on track for both graduation requirements and A through G requirements. We do a lot behind the scenes with our students to make sure that they are college eligible and also maintain eligibility for graduation. It's one of our goals in the academic domain of our counseling criteria. And so I'm going to talk about course selection. I'm going to talk about alternative programs that we offer that we've presented to your sophomores. And then I'm also going to go over briefly the resources that we have at Los Altos and how we guide students towards those resources. And then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Duran, who's going to talk about the College and Career Center information and events that we have. So as Mr. Rojas mentioned, our course selection process for students is underway. We started back in December when we presented in history classes to students, which feels like a long time ago, but we really want students to have time to make informed decisions, to be able to collaborate with teachers and families, their families, and talk about what courses are best for them, and to really give them time to make thoughtful decisions about their courses, because we know that it's not only about following their academic interests, but also developing that personal narrative and thinking about what it is that they like and want to pursue in the future. So that's a big part of our job, not just to advise them academically, but to really look internally to figure out what it is that they enjoy doing, and how to kind of accomplish those goals for post-secondary planning as well. So you may have heard that the Aries portal is open, and this is where we need your parents' help to make sure that your sophomores enter their course requests into Aries. Part of owning the academic process is also, entering their courses in there. We give them the autonomy to put their classes into Aries, and then throughout January and February, counselors are going to check in with your sophomore to make sure that they have the appropriate coursework entered, that they feel balanced, and that their schedule or their course requests are appropriate, or the appropriate rigor for them. So the Aries portal is open. It'll close on the 19th. So all students must have their courses entered in Aries by the 19th or before your one-on-one counseling meeting. And then what's nice is in March, students will have a chance to finalize these requests through our reverse verification process. So it's not a one and done. Once they enter it in Aries, then they're completely finished and can't make any changes. If something changes or they found out about a new course that they are enjoying or want to try, they'll have another chance to change that in reverse verification. Oftentimes students feel a little bit nervous about it just being like the final time when we talk about it in February, but they have another chance to change it. And then finally, schedules will be distributed in August to all of our students. So up until this point, throughout, the course selection process, throughout the reverse verification, those course requests are just, simply requests, but their final schedules will be distributed in August, and right before school starts, so that they're able to know what classes they actually were able to get. So we're walking them through that course selection process. We're starting with juniors first in our one-on-one appointments. Then we're moving on to sophomores, and then we'll have our freshman appointments. So each student at Los Altos High School, freshmen through juniors, has a one-on-one appointment scheduled with their school counselor to verify that the courses are put in correctly. And those take place January through February, okay? If you're curious about what we've presented in the course selection process or presentations, I've put the QR code here. This is what was presented to sophomores in case you want to get a glimpse of what we talked about with them. But I'm going to go over a little bit about what we talked about in those sophomore presentations. First and foremost, we want students to consider 3 things when they're selecting their courses. We want them to consider their time. We want them to consider the academic demands of all of their classes together. And we also want them to consider their interest level and skills in those areas, okay? Mr. Morales last year put together this time management worksheet that was passed out on the back of the course selection sheets to all students. But if your student is trying to figure out like how much time they have to dedicate towards homework and activities, this is a great tool to work with them to kind of map out their time and understand how much work each class is going to take. So there's a QR code here. It'll prompt you to make a copy, and you can work through that with the student. It's an electronic version so that you just have that with them, and you can use that tool to kind of think about time management. We know our students at Los Altos are really dedicated. We have a really fun, vibrant community who's involved in everything from sports to extracurricular activities to family obligations to volunteering. So we want to make sure that while the academic skills are important, that they also have time to develop those extracurricular activities and pursue their interests outside of school as well. So we're looking for that sweet spot of balance, which I'll talk a little bit about in the forthcoming slides. Okay, but 3 things to consider when making informed decisions are your time, your academic demands of all your classes together, and then whether or not you have an interest level in that class and how skilled you are. So when you're thinking about making these course selection decisions, or if you haven't yet talked to your student about their course choices, we have a ton of resources available for us. Ms. Castillo, along with all of the course teams at Los Altos and the teachers, have been putting together a lot of different resources so that students can make these informed decisions. There's QR codes to each of these resources here. The course catalog has every course and every course description. It includes different pathways. Our graduation requirements are in there. So it really is a comprehensive overview of every course that's offered at Los Altos and what to expect in terms of demands or courses that would prepare you best for those classes and different pathways you can take within different interest areas. So I highly recommend checking out that course catalog. Our course comparison sheets are an excellent tool for students to say, I'm considering, the AP US History and US History. What's the difference between this course? Each of the course teams have put together those kind of comparison sheets so that you're able to mindfully go through with your student what you can expect from each course and the time that is required for those courses. And then last, on our course selection website, we have all of our presentations and information about special programs from Foothill Middle College and College Now to our Freestyle Academy. So that's an available resource for you all if you're looking to just ask a couple of questions or find out more details about open houses and things like that. I'm also going to speak to them in a minute, but just so you're aware of those ideas. Okay, so just giving a brief overview of one of the things that we go over with each of the sophomores is we talk about middle college and college now. Middle college and college now are two programs that are offered in concurrently with Foothill College. And it's a way for students entering in junior and senior year to actually take college level classes while still in high school. Middle college is a little bit different from college now. Middle college is a way for students to earn up to 60 transferable credits for free. Essentially, you're taking your English class and your history class with a small cohort of LAHS students, and then you're taking all of your other courses and requirements through Foothill College. So it allows you to specialize and pick and choose classes that you're interested in taking that might not be offered at Los Altos High School. It's also a way for you can earn college credits in addition to your LAHS diploma. Middle College has visited Los Altos 2 times already to meet with students, actually 3 times, twice in December in the College and Career Center, and then they were at our elective fair in January. They will also be hosting an open house on February 12th. So if that sounds like it's a good fit for your student, maybe your student wants more freedom and flexibility to design their own schedule or has a certain interest area that we don't necessarily offer, that might be a good fit for the student. So the student's still able to participate in all Los Altos High School activities, homecoming, prom, sports, but your classes are all on Foothill College's campus. Okay, so that's middle college. College Now is also a college level program that's offered in high school, but this is really for driven independent students, and you are not in an individualized cohort. You actually just work with a college advisor, and you're essentially enrolled in Foothill College full time to meet your college or to take college courses and meet your high school requirements. So in this program, you can earn up to 90 transferable credits for free. Your classes are taken solely on Foothills College. You're not in a cohort, and it still has that flexibility to design your own schedule and the opportunity to start college early. So both of these websites are linked with the QR codes here on the left and the right. Middle College's open house is February 12th at Foothill College. And then College Now's open house is Tuesday, February 10th at Foothill College. Applications are open. They're probably due around February 27th. Last year, Middle College was due February 25th. I know College Now's applications are due the 27th. If your student has any interest in this, they can definitely talk to us about this in our one-on-one counseling appointments to see if it's the right fit. And we can connect them with the Middle College and College Now advisors to just talk through it. If they're at all interested, we encourage them to apply and see what they think. Just because you apply doesn't mean you have to commit to it. So that's one of our two of our alternative programs, Middle College and College Now. And we also are really fortunate to partner with Mountain View High School to offer our Freestyle Academy through MVLA School District. This is an amazing project-based collaborative environment where students spend half the day at Los Altos taking their graduation requirements and college entrance requirements, and half the day at Freestyle Academy. It's for our creatives, for our creative students. You can pursue courses in animation, design, film production. They have their own music studio over there. And it's really an amazing opportunity for students to delve into their creative project-based side of themselves and take academic classes at Los Altos High School. So the way that looks is that there's an AM and a PM option for students. So if you are an AM student at Freestyle, you would take 3 classes over at Freestyle Academy, and then you would have a travel period, and then you would take your remaining 3 to 4 classes at Los Altos High School. There's a shuttle and transportation provided, and we make sure that we can get in your high school requirements and also your Freestyle Academy requirements. The other piece is that you take your English course through Freestyle. So it's English and 2 electives taken at Mountain View High School, and then the rest of your requirements are taken at LHS. Again, there's an AM and a PM option, so depending what works for you, we try to make sure that we get students in the right placement for that option. If you're interested in this, or if you feel that this might be a good fit for your student, there's going to be a presentation on the 28th of January in the College and Career Center. And also Freestyle's open house is February 5th. If you want to watch a short video about what Freestyle is and if this might be a good fit for your student, scan the QR code, watch that video. We showed this in every freshman, sophomore, junior level class, so they've already probably seen it, but it's a great way for parents to kind of know what offerings are out there. So in our one-on-one counselor meetings, we are working with students to review their 4-year plan, to think about A through 8G eligibility, which is our UC and CSU eligibility requirements. And we're also making sure that they're making progress towards graduation. Our goal is to support your students' plan, to support your students' interests, and to make sure that they're developing a sense of self. You can see that there are a lot of different pathways that students can go. We have electives from everything from STEM electives to a new business course, to fashion design, to art, band and music, a music production course, STEM related things, design and fabrication. We have freestyle, we have middle college. So our goal is really to kind of help your student determine which pathway they'd be interested in and work towards those goals. In those one-on-one meetings, we not only review their courses, but we make sure that they're not missing anything for college entrance requirements. We make sure that they're making progress towards graduation. And if they need to enroll in summer school or redo a class, we're also making sure that we're getting them registered for those kinds of things too. So it's really a great way to connect with students about their goals. In our meetings for sophomore year, every sophomore during freshman year created a 4-year planning tool. Okay. This is a Google Doc that's in our shared drive, and they shared it with their counselor. And we talk about this, what you need to do in 9th and 10th grade to reach your goals in 11th and 12th grade, and kind of map out that plan. So if you haven't seen this yet, we would highly recommend you ask your student about that 4-year plan and just get a sense for what they're thinking about. It's a great conversation piece to kind of support your student in a meaningful way. That also on the left-hand side outlines not only our graduation requirements, but also the college entrance requirements, so both you and your student are informed. Before we meet with your student, we review their transcript, just like Mr. Rojas said. And we also review this 4-year plan and update it each year with your student to make sure that they're meeting all of the requirements. So I think this is a really important tool for sophomore planning that we'll go over. So if your sophomore hasn't updated this yet, we worked with them in our course selection presentations to update this plan. So I think it should be updated, but it may have changed from December until now. So great to check in with them about what they're planning to take. The other tool that we share with students to make sure that all students are on track is our A through G requirement checklist. This is used to track college entrance requirements and also reviewed annually by school counselors. So we're not only looking at the graduation requirements, but also making sure that they're ready for college as well, that they have their fine art met, that they're working towards all of the UC and A through G requirements, and also making sure that they've passed these courses with, a C or better, which is what is required for college. So this A through G checklist is a great tool to kind of make sure that they're making progress towards all of their college entrance requirements. So what we're striving for when we have these conversations and when we're thinking about these ideas with students is we're really striving for balance. In the course selection process, by the time they get to us and have this one-on-one counseling appointment, we hope that they've gotten input from their teachers discussing the course expectations with current teachers. So if a student is considering AP US History, that they think about what the work level is in AP Human Geography or World Studies, right? They talk that over with their previous teacher and really kind of get in there and understand what the requirements are. We also encourage students to consider their interests. So you may be thinking, and this comes up a lot, like how many AP or honors level courses should my child be taking? And the honest answer is your child or your student can go through high school having never taken an AP or honors level class, and that's okay. Or they could be taking a mixture of those AP and honors level courses. We encourage students to consider their interests and put their time into the courses that are really going to challenge them intellectually, that challenge their curiosity. And so really there's no specific formula. It's different for every student. And that's why we have those conversations about balance. Our goal is for our students to have a balanced schedule where it's challenging but not overwhelming, right? That their schedule incorporates downtime, that they have time to rest, sleep, regroup with family, hang out with friends. We think a balanced schedule also maximizes a student's strength. So if you're a STEM kid, you're delving into our STEM related courses that are advanced. If you are strong in languages and bilingual, you're maybe pursuing our honors and AP courses that highlight those strengths, right? That's going to make it a more authentic journey for your student and allow them to tell their personal narrative, which is what we're talking about in that sophomore year, is really thinking about who you are and what your interests are. So we strive for balance. We help students kind of think that through because it is a big jump from sophomore year to junior year when we're talking about courses, and we want to make sure that we're supporting your student in any way that we can. The other thing that we talk a lot about with our sophomores is taking that academic accountability. This is one of those 21st century skills that we're talking about, and being able to be accountable and think about yourself in a certain way, and also communicate with your teachers or your school counselor when things maybe aren't going great. So we encourage students, while we sit in our one-on-one classes or one-on-one appointments, to review the 4-year plan. We look over the graduation status and transcript. We explain the graduation requirements and UC entrance requirements, but we're also hoping that the students are tracking this on their own too. We feel it's strongly for students to monitor their grades and areas. They don't have to, relentlessly check it, but they should have some accountability of knowing where their grade stands and what they have due when. And that also includes working with teachers and utilizing our ACT period. So every Wednesday and Friday, students have academic collaboration time where they're able to meet and connect with teachers. They sign up through Minga. They use that as a resource to get some extra support in classes that they might need. Maybe they need to take test corrections or just connect with different content in those area classes. So ACT is a great way for students to learn how to advocate for themselves and advocate for their needs. And then, of course, they have access and support on campus to the library, peer tutoring in the tutorial center, and then a free resource that's available to every student is tutor.com. So Not only are we looking for them to develop their interests and skills over this time, but we also want them to take academic ownership and accountability. And these are some of the ways they can do that. So just to kind of highlight some of these resources, you may have heard them. We talk about them all the time for students, but just to revisit this in case parents are wondering. On the left-hand side on the right-hand side of my screen is the school-based student support forum. If your student is struggling in some way, shape, or form, and you just want someone to check in with them, you can fill out that form, or the student can fill out that form, or teachers or myself can fill out that form and refer the student to a school-based support. Our wellness coordinator will do an intake and just kind of check in with the student and then determine where it goes from there. We do have Cassie and Pacific clinics that do short-term counseling on campus with students. So if they're ever needing someone to talk to, there's support there. We have 7 school counselors that meet with students all 4 years. I highlighted the Tutorial and Writing Center where there are peer and adult tutors. Our College and Career Center team is amazing. You're going to hear from Laura in just a couple of slides. She's got amazing resources for college and career exploration. Maria is here with us tonight doing Spanish translation and our bilingual and ELL communities. She supports those communities as well. And then, of course, we have our Wellness Center where students can drop in whenever needed. So all of these things are available for students. Part of becoming an adult is learning how to navigate these resources. So I would truly encourage before, you swoop in and try to fix things, point your student towards these resources to kind of learn how to advocate for themselves. That's the same type of thing that we're doing in our one-on-one appointments. And in case you need to connect with any of the resources that I've mentioned here tonight, these are all QR codes to all of these different resources here on campus for you as parents to help support your sophomore. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Duran in the College and Career Center to tell us a little bit about her programming.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, I just have to start by saying I love 10th graders, and I think it's just the best year because students have familiarized themselves with high school. They aren't so stressed about like the transition, but they still have plenty of time to explore their interests and their pathway, and they have time to prepare before making that next set of decisions when they transition off. I mean, of course, I love all grade levels, but 10th grade is a special year. And so on this slide, you can see that we're very fortunate to have 2 fully dedicated staff members in the College and Career Center, myself and Miss Angela Price, our college advisor. And because we're both able to work in there full time, we are better able to serve our families and our students. Miss Price will start working with students and their families via one-to-one college advising appointments in the fall of junior year. But this year, what you can do is you can definitely reach out to us with any questions, and hopefully in the series of slides that you see, you'll feel more confident on how you can get a hold of us or how you can start accessing some of the information that we think is really important. So what exactly do we focus on in the College and Career Center? Well, 3 main areas for 10th graders. One, we have college. Of course, we have the college rep visits in the fall. 10th graders are able to attend those visits without permission from teachers if it's during lunchtime or a student has a free period. Next year, when they are 11th graders, when the college rep visits happen again, they can attend any visit they'd like with permission from their teacher. So if the teacher gives them permission to miss class, they can come over and attend the visit, which we highly encourage students to explore starting whenever they're ready, but in 11th grade is great. We also have ACT workshops on Wednesdays and Fridays. Those are advertised and published, and students can register for those in Minga. We send a weekly school bulletin coming up with activities and opportunities that we want to promote, and those go out on Friday afternoons to all students. Parents and guardians can access that information through the College and Career Center website. There's a hyperlink to a Google Doc, and so really anyone can see what we're sending out to students, but we don't spam everyone's inbox. We have a YouTube channel where we've posted videos from the last several years on a variety of topics. So if you're thinking your student might be wanting to be an athlete in college, we have videos for that. If you want to explore community college or military academies or scholarships, financial aid, you name it, and there might be a video that's related to that topic. So the YouTube channel can be a really great resource. We also have an Instagram account, and that's our method of using social media to try to meet students where they're at in a different way. As far as career goes, you've heard Naviance mentioned so far tonight. If you'd like a parent account, please email me and I can get that set up for you. So just shoot me an email and include your student's name, and I can activate that account for you. And what that allows students and families to do is see what kind of careers are out there, what does a starting salary look like, what kind of preparation would be required, and start having those conversations about what career path looks interesting, and then what preparation will be required. And that's how students can start thinking about various college majors and then various colleges that offer that training or that programming. We also are big fans of experiential learning, so having students get hands-on experience outside of the classroom, clubs, volunteering, part-time job, summer programs, really just whatever they can do in order to try something different or to apply the skills that they're learning in the classroom outside of the classroom. We also encourage 10th graders to engage in informational interviews. It sounds very intimidating, but really think about a family member or a friend's family member who's doing something that sounds cool, and ask them if you can ask them a few questions. If they have 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time, usually people are willing to give that to a high school student, and ask them questions like, what is something you love about your job? What is something that you don't love? I'm a high school student. What do you recommend that I consider when I'm thinking about a future career? What's something that you wish you would have known? And students might be amazed at what people will share with them or what little pearls of wisdom they can take, but they have to practice that skill of putting themselves out there a bit to ask and get that good information. And then the last sort of focus would be encouraging those extracurricular activities. As I mentioned, we have a ton of clubs at Los Altos, really something for everybody. And then if it doesn't exist, students can charter their own club, which is nice. We also can support students in creating a resume. So for your students that are already actively doing things outside of school, whether that be taking care of somebody at home or doing family responsibilities or something more formal, we can help them put that onto paper so that they can get that first job, or they can apply for that summer program. And then down the line, if it's applying to college, having a version of that ready to go. And really thinking about the why behind the what. I know in our community, it can be very easy to get into just listing the what am I doing, but also reflecting on why am I doing this? What am I getting out of it? Why is this significant or meaningful to me? How might this help me moving forward? So helping facilitate that conversation with your student can be really helpful and a great way to partner with us on that. So we'll go quickly through this one. Just in Naviance, there are things like self-discovery. Your students were asked to complete this in 9th grade. They can continue at any point if they didn't finish or they want to retake some of those assessments. They can start researching colleges. We use single sign-on, so your student doesn't have a username or password. They just click the student button, single sign-on, and it takes them right into their account. And every single student has this. And then, as mentioned, you can email me and I will set up your parent Naviance account for you. Okay. And students are able to walk into the College and Career Center without an appointment, any grade level, during a free period, before school, during brunch, during lunch, to get more information about college, to get information about summer jobs, volunteering, and so on. Just today at 11:45 a.m., I sent out a Parent Square message to you all and all students 9th, 10th, and 11th grade with just some programs or some opportunities that students or families might want to consider. That's just a starting point, although there were a gazillion links in there. But as your family is discussing what's next, how might you want to get involved, what might you want to explore, what are we going to do this summer, I would love to be a partner in that conversation. So please send your student in or send me an email and we can bounce off some ideas. Or maybe you find something amazing, but you're like, looks great, but we need a few different factors. Maybe it's different dates or maybe it's a different format. And that's where I can also be a resource. And as you start thinking about the future, knowing that there are some opportunities ahead to visit connect with other colleges. There's going to be a college fair. It's during the school day, which is slightly unfortunate, but it's on March 10th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Foothill College. If your student happens to have a free period or you want to go explore, it's open to anybody. There's also the MBLA Countdown to College event that we're planning for late March. That'll be from 6 to 8:15 p.m. all via Zoom. You'll be seeing significantly more communication from us about that event and how you can access the different webinars and Zoom sessions. And then there are also NACAC virtual college fairs, and those are online on those dates. All of this is listed on the College and Career Center events calendar on the College and Career Center webpage. So just putting that out there for you. And the next fall, we'll be hosting the MBLA College Fair on Los Altos' campus, date to be determined. And as mentioned, I sent out that email about summer activities. Summer, we definitely want to acknowledge it's a time to recharge. It's a time to relax, rejuvenate, but it's also a great opportunity to explore without the academic pressure that your students are experiencing during the regular school year. And so just doing something in addition to recharging, we think would be really useful, something hands-on that's interesting to your student.
Great. Thanks, Laura.
Can I give one more plug really quickly?
Yes,
we just really want to thank the MVLA Foundation for their generous support of the College and Career Center, allowing us to have the 2 full-time staff members and a lot of the programming that we provide. So, and a thank you to any family that's also participating in the foundation. Just a really big shout out to those services.
Amazing. Thank you. And I just wanted to make one clarifying comment that for students interested in freestyle, you actually take English through Freestyle Academy. Freestyle is located next to Mountain View's campus. So you go back and forth to Mountain View High School, but your English class is actually taken through Freestyle. So you take English and 2 electives. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. So we have time for a few questions. We have about 5 minutes left until the webinar ends, and we have some great questions in here in the Q&A. So one question is, can my sophomore drop in to ask the counselor any questions this week before course selection window closes? Ariel, well, I'll take this one.
Okay.
How I've been answering that question is since we're actively in counseling appointments right now and doing course selection appointments, you can do your best to enter in your courses. And when we have that one-on-one appointment, if you have things that need to be changed, we can change it then. We might not be available for just drop-in appointments because we have like 15 or 16 appointments a day, and our appointments are 15 minutes. They are only for students. I know I see a parent question asking if they can join, but it's really for students. So I would encourage you to have your student reach out to their counselor via email. But if we don't get back in a quick turnaround, we can address those questions in the one-on-one sessions. That's the purpose of the one-on-one sessions. Ariel or Mr. Rojas, maybe you can answer this one. Where can we access the graduation status report? Is it in Aries?
Yes, so you can find the transcript and you can find the graduation status report in Aries as well. And if you can always email us and we can send a copy to you, but you can find that on Aries.
Okay. And then there's a question for the history requirement. You only mentioned world history and US history. Does the freshman year ethnic studies count towards this requirement? So for our history requirement for graduation, students take ethnic studies in freshman year. In sophomore year, your options were world history, AP Human Geography, and AP European History, and World Studies. Did I say that? Sorry, I may have repeated myself. So sophomore years have 4 options. And then in junior year, your options are US History and AP US History. And then we have a lot of different options for senior year as well. Mr. Rojas, could you answer this question? If my student takes Spanish up until Spanish 3. Does that complete the 3-year recommended requirement for UCs and CSUs?
That is correct. And the student doesn't have to be like in the 3 years at Los Altos High School. The student could have come like in the second year in ninth grade and then completes the third year in 10th grade. And that will be sufficient. That will fulfill the requirement and the recommended for the UC and the CSU.
Great. Okay, let me see if there's.
I've got one. It's a question asking if the slides will be shared after the presentation.
Yes, our slides will be posted on our website, and there'll also be a webinar recording of this presentation posted on our website as well. Okay, and then is a question about the middle college requirements. Does it require recommendation letters from teachers? I believe there is a recommendation component to the middle college application process. If you go back to the QR code, you can look at it'll link you to the middle college website, and it'll give an overview of the application requirements. It's a pretty straightforward process. I know middle college just wants to make sure that you know why you're going there and that you understand the requirements.
And I also wanted to answer the question about how long the appointments with counselors are for the one-on-one, just to make sure. So we're trying to meet with students for a 10-minute window, and we are just meeting with the students just because we want to just make sure that they have the right schedule and make sure that we get them started with that process. And these appointments are in person, so the students are called in the classroom and they come to see us in our offices.
Sure. There's a question about dual enrollment. Mr. Rand, do you think that you want to take that one? Can students take classes at Mission College or Foothill College for dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment?
Yes, so we are happy to support students in taking community college courses. On the counseling website, there's information about out-of-district coursework. If you would like certain courses to be added to the high school transcript, there's details about that. But we also have students that take courses through various community colleges, don't add it to the high school transcript. They report it to colleges when they apply. It gets calculated into their GPA. So there's a few different options, but yes, we can definitely help your student find courses or sign up for courses at the community colleges throughout the state.
And then last question, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to email us. This webinar will be posted online under Student Services, under Presentations. The last question I have here is about taking health in the summer, which is a graduation requirement. And that's a great question. A lot of students ask us in course selection. The health registration typically opens at the end of March or in April. We'll let you know. An announcement will be made when that opens up for students to be able to register. So if they have any questions, they can come and see their counselor. But that registration process opens up in March.
And just to add a little bit to the health question, the classes are offered twice during the summer. The first session is going to start on the 10th. We already know that date, and then it goes for 3 weeks, and then the second session starts. Just make sure that the student is in town, even though it's online. The student has to go once a week to take tests at the Adult Ed Center. So you guys can plan around your vacation or your plans for the summer.
Yeah, great point. We thank you all so much for being. Oh, go ahead, Mr.
Can I add
Rand.
one more? I'm so sorry. I'm like busy in the chat. I just want to say that if you have testing questions around ACT or SAT standardized testing, at the Countdown to College event in March, we're going to have an hour-long webinar hosted by Compass Test Prep, going through all of the current landscape, timeline, answering any questions. So please make sure to tune into that webinar for live interaction with some experts.
Amazing. Thanks, Mr. Rand.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see your students in the next couple of weeks and look forward to helping support them through sophomore year.
Thank you. Thank you so much.